our segment with
Pretty Handy.
Yeah, Pretty Handy by Carl H. Menzies, and it's a run-up to Christmas and kind of do-it-yourself kind of things for you at home. If you're not so handy, you can definitely learn some tricks. We're moving into our final segment, and this has to do with the Proto, and it's people reaching out to others. Foundation. And we have the launch of the Colin Thurton National Junior Olympics Development Program. We have Mark Usher, who's the founder and director of Proto, and Colin Thurton himself on set.
Pleased to be here, guys.
Good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's start off just talking a little bit about Proto, and then we'll jump into talking about Colin and his,
his input.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, quick synopsis. PROTO Foundation got started around 2011, 2012, and we have emerged, we have changed, and we have grown. And more recently, PROTO Foundation has directed its focus in the primary schools. Why? Because it's a structured system. We feel that there's at least four dimensions to learning for a young person to get a wholesome education. There's the basic education, the reading, writing, arithmetic, and maths and English and physics. There's the artistic part that has to be developed. Whether you like dance, and William, I'm an original tap dancer. Yeah. You like drama and theater, where I could act the fool. Whether you like playing instruments or singing.
Kevin,
right?
Kevin,
right. Those are Kevin eras. Then there's the dimension of the psychosocial, and now in this day and age, we're seeing that being developed more and being looked at. Psychosocial have to do with your mental well-being, and psychosocial goes beyond just the kids in the school. It goes to the teachers who are the caregivers, right? And then there's the physical dimension, the sports. A picnic, they got energy. Boy or girl, it don't matter, they got energy, and want to run both and everything. But if you can tap into those four areas, then you're making it better for that young person to become a productive and functional citizen. So we said, let's put our resources, let's build capacity in those three areas where it's not necessarily readily available, especially in public schools. So that's our focus.
Now, when you're talking about play, I know there has been a movement globally where we see play as development.
Yes.
Is that the area that you're trying to focus on and to awaken? Because a lot of people, even recess, some people think punishment, you take away recess, but they don't understand how that refreshes the mind.
It should be the reverse. And yes, you're correct. Music, play, the arts, all of those things, they stimulate the mind in such a way that if you have a student who's having problems with their reading, writing, and arithmetic, you give them something that they are gravitating to. If it is he's an athletic person or she's an athletic person, or they want to sing or dance, give them that. They relax and they embrace the work that you wanted them to do. So yes, the answer is that is important.
Now, what are you doing with Proto? You've talked a little bit about the evolution. So you're still working with primary
yes. Well, what
students.
we have done, right? What we have done is we have decided to now go into the primary schools. We are currently, for example, at Trinity Primary School, and we're rolling out a fully loaded program. We are providing support with the teachers, after school support, tutoring, because at the end of the day, that's their primary role of an educational institution. We're providing our sports practitioners who go in and does the PE class. Here's a dynamic. In many instances, you have kids who are in a classroom in primary school and they don't get to do their PE. And there's many reasons why the PE don't occur. Some could be the weather, some could just be teacher don't really want to go get sweaty and this and that. PE is important. So what we are saying is, the slides you're showing is from our PE with purpose proposal. What we are saying is, let us put the emphasis on physical education class in the primary school that it deserves. So we are sending our coaches in the primary school to help those teachers and to do the PE class, but do it with a purpose, right? So that is very important.
My query would be along the lines of gender.
Yes.
Right? Because very often, still, a lot of times they excuse girls from doing PE.
Yes.
And, they see it as a male thing. So how does your program work to encourage young women, because we definitely need more women in sports, and we see it manifesting at the higher levels when you want to have a national
track team.
Right, well, track is one of the areas that you still have a lot of female involvement.
Yes.
But when it comes to football, basketball, etc., I'm talking about countrywide.
Yes.
You may not have any kind of gravitation towards that.
Well, see, our program it's the same. We push on both ends. It's male, female, because you go to a class, and if there's well, here's the thing. No, another dynamic. In the typical classroom, there's more women and there's more boys and more females than males.
Yep.
So, and then in the classroom, there is now more female teachers than male. You know, we have a dire need to find a way to encourage men to get back in the classroom, because don't make no ghost fool you. There's a certain amount of impact a female teacher can have with a male student. True. But there's much more that a male teacher can have with that male student. So those are the things you're looking at. So for us, what we're promoting is equal across the board. And I'll tell you, in many instances from my experience, the programs that we put out there, we are getting the feedback and the response more so from the females in that classroom, from the girls in that classroom, than in many cases with the boys. Trust me, with boys, really, man, endangered species, we're looking at our boys. True. That's the bottom line.
Mark, I don't want to lose this opportunity to commend your effort as the founder of this. I think in Belize, not send me flowers when I did. That doesn't work.
Yes.
Your vision for this is tremendous.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
And the energy and effort that you put into it, that I've been observing.
Yes.
I see you do the barbecues, the fundraisers. I see you do the extra effort, your personal time. And whatever you're doing is in addition to what everything else is going on. But one of the aspects to me that I found particularly intriguing, because it's an extension of your personality.
Correct.
You have a passion for sports, and you are an engineer, I believe, by trade.
Sir.
So you take that scientific approach to your passion, and you get it out. But one of the aspects of your efforts is in terms of your appreciation for history and persons.
Yes.
And the way you've been managed to merge the diaspora with legends. Correct. So you will show your respect to Mr. Thurton, to Polo.
Yes.
You know, these are the guys. If you want to know sports history, there's a book, but there's also Mark Usher.
Yes.
Could you talk to us about just something which is kind of unbelievable too, because we're not big
upon that. Yes.
We're not upon that.
We're not upon that.
Talk about how the entire vision of Proto has just allowed you to create a new dynamic, a new conversation, a healthy conversation in Belize.
See, and I'm glad you brought me there, because that's the reason why we have Uncle Colin here. All that we're saying at Proto, we're saying Miss Gloria Edwards' model in the primary school.
Grace Primary Club.
Right, Grace Primary. This has been done. We're saying sports physical ed in the primary school. That has been done. We're saying to the young athletes now, the Faith Morris, who now we're getting to go to Jamaica, the Carr sisters, and to younger kids who are coming up, we're saying that here is Uncle Colin Thurton. He was a sprinter in the 60s, and he was on the first group of athletes. Belize entered the Olympics in 1968 in Mexico City. This gentleman represented us. What is the point there? The point there is Proto, they come now, and we excitedly tell you, no, we could do this.
Yes. We have proof.
But for me, it's my personal thing to say we have to embrace Uncle Colin. We have to embrace Paula Lightburn. We have to embrace Ludwig Lightburn and use them to show our young kids. And not necessarily young kids, you know, show them parents, because 2 generations ago, I never know, I 50 now, I never know Uncle Colin, as Chevy said. But I'm glad I can say that now, because it's a testament of how important it is to link. No, the diaspora. Uncle Colin has been living in the US since he left to further his athletics career, and he will tell you about that. And what happened? Very few of us know what is happening out in the diaspora. And we have amazing Belizeans. 501 Banana Grow Picnic, rice and beans and jelly cake and turkey. Yes! Out there, excelling. And we need to embrace that. Why? Because we have to restore hope. We have to restore hope.
I really like the direction that you're going, and before we get to talk to Uncle Colin, as you call him, because I think that's a nice way to put it. We don't do a good job of telling the stories.
No, we don't.
Every time, just like politics, we
Yes.
seem to every 5 years or whenever there's a change in administration, we somehow think that we're starting from scratch.
Yes.
We don't have the history to tell of people who have gone there before and have done well. So this is a great opportunity to talk to Mr. Thurton.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about your own experience prior to leaving Belize. What got you involved in athletics? Was it just a natural kind of thing?
Well, first of all, I was born and raised in Belize City. I am King Street boy. The alley by Ditz. Well, the alley by Ditz was a sports mecca. There were guys that the Corsican brothers taught. A lot of those guys lived through the alley, and in the evenings, I mean, if it was basketball season, if it was football season, it was cricket season, it happened right in the alley. And my problem was, I was a sickly child. So I couldn't get involved most of the times, especially if it was raining, because if I went down there, I would be sick. So I would be at my window watching all the action and just itching to get down there, you know? But it so happens that the older I got, I sort of grew out of it. And the whole thing started, I never ran competitive. It was my last year at Wesley School. There was a friend of mine, Irvin, we used to call him Pa. Say, you gonna come and run, we're gonna run a mile, you gonna come and run, you know, sports day. I come up here and I ran, I came about 5th or something like that. The whole thing started at Wesley College. And Wesley College had this thing that everybody, your Wesley College, you have to play sports. The only way you're not gonna play sports at Wesley College is if you bring a doctor's certificate.
Yep.
And boy, did I play. You know, and all the sports, I loved it, every minute of it. I had a lot of friends that helped me out, really. There were times when I would get lackadaisical about my training, and my best friends would say to me, "You're not training, I know you're not training,
Yes.
you'll get your behind whipped." and actually, they didn't only talk about it, they trained another young man to put a whipping on me.
You, yeah.
And they told me what they were doing. Yeah. Yes, fortunately I understood what was going on, and I got myself together just in time. But that's the kind of background that I'm from.
So you migrated from Belize, sorry Kevin, you
Right.
migrated from Belize. Was that just through family or through sports that you
To my family. My dad lived in Chicago and what, and after the Olympics, I used to work at Treasury. And after the Olympics,
So this is 1968,
68.
you went to the Olympics?
Take note
Yeah, I
that
went
he
to the
was
68
working, he
Olympics.
was a working man,
Yeah.
and he
And
got
little
in
has
shape.
changed, right?
All right?
yeah,
Good.
60. I got married in 65.
History is
68, I
powerful.
went to the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
They're not connected though, the fact that they got married and the fact that they went to the game.
Just shows you the importance of it. Right? Marriage is up there with the Olympics.
That's right.
and the kind of thing that he did to run.
Yeah, I had one child, and so I moved to Chicago, and I got directed directly into the University of Chicago track club. There was a club that the coach from the university's team, all the athletes that were past athletes could join the club. I got in there. Eustace, there was one of our best athletes back in the day, Eustace Gill. Eustace Gill and my dad took me to the coach, and that was the beginning of everything for me.
Yep.
I ran indoor track, excelled, did well, did real well, loved it, I didn't like going outside in the cold, man. I couldn't deal with it. And the whole thing that started is I got ranked. I was ranked in the States at that time in 100 yards. Back then, that's what we ran, 9.3. And I was among the top 10.
Top 10 countrywide.
Back then, you had the Sports Illustrated, not the Sports Illustrated, the Track and Field News.
Yeah.
And if you're a track guy, you look in the track and field, you see where you're ranked. And that's one of the biggest achievements I ever had. I broke a few records there.
You broke some records. You have it right there.
Wow.
Some pointers that we put together. Yeah.
And see, and the thing about it is, back then, I know I'm doing this as a hobby because I'm working. I'm a bookkeeper. I'm working. All right. Yeah. And I support a family. And the coach came to me and said, Colin, he says, I have a scholarship for you if you're interested, you know. So that's for what? Go to University of Texas at El Paso. I said, you know what, I have to talk to my better half about this. But I already knew what I was going to do. Yeah. I said, well, you know what? She said, okay. We packed up just like that. This happened like in September that year, 73. And by Christmas, January, starting the spring semester, I was at UTEP.
I know this goes back to Mark's point,
yes,
which is that we don't know about ourselves. Because I'm sure that story, I was in Jamaica and at the university studying, and everyone there felt that they could possibly be Bolt, because there was a marketed reference point to where they could get to. Belize has a lot of natural talent. Mark will tell you he's been working with a lot of young people, male and female. Yes. He's been coaching them. I've seen him do it. We have a lot of natural talent, but we have a vision of where our ceiling is. I believe so. I just have to beat Juni. I just have to beat Juni. But we don't know what our international, as you were saying, that it's national. You're top 10 national in one of the major US residencies. What do you think that this initiative that Mark and Proto are doing can bring to young people in Belize? And I'm going to ask with a bias, for in particular males in Belize City, who probably look at it and say, you know what, I just could run fast. If I want to run left, I could run left you. You know? And for the communities, because as you spoke there as well, I'm thinking football. There's a Tut Bay. This is an extremely good football area by the Yabra there. There are different pockets. Peel off, you know? Yes. That's a little these pockets where every season you see them in every sport. But they're also troubled communities. So I wanted to talk about what do you think this initiative can do and will do for some of these, in terms of knowledge and in terms of these communities that are facing some challenging times for our meals?
I'll tell you why this touched exactly where I was going. I'm a retired teacher. I taught for 18 years. I taught at the university for about 4 years part-time. I taught business and math. And I coached and I played soccer. Soccer was my actual first love.
Oh, yeah. You're the reverse of Usain Bolt. He's doing the reverse.
I tell you what, a lot of those guys can play the ball good. He's a good soccer player.
Yes.
So anyway, I coached soccer, and a couple of the guys that I was coaching, their sons, they kept saying, Colin, he says, how come why don't you come back and start coaching my son in track? I said, man, you know what, I kind of gave up track. Anyway, they bugged me, and finally I decided, you know what, let me do this. I went and I got my teaching certificate, and I went and I said, see, when I was at UTEP, I was the graduate assistant sprint coach. My head coach didn't like traveling, so I did all the traveling. I was gone. Like I said, I'm a married man, I have a daughter. I was gone. I come in Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, especially indoor seasons. Thursday I'm gone, and the cycle repeats again. And I said, you know what, I'm kind of tired of this. I did that for about 7 years. And what made it more, my coach left. I decided, I can't deal with this other coach. So I quit. And I went into my profession, which was business. I have a master's in business. And, I own a newspaper.
So Uncle Colin was talking about him doing one sport and him being recruited to do coaching in track and field. But I want to go back to something that you've been very public about, which is saying that track and field is the building block for every other sport.
Yes.
Yes. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So if you look at the way, or I tried to be an athlete when I never made wear the ball, right? No, I wear the ball. And I remember when we were training, when we were playing ball, I remember SJC, Fred Evans, the coach, and I'm lucky enough to get selected in at the first 25. As you get that gym, 1 mile, you have to go run a mile.
Wow.
That's the first thing. The conditioning back then was amazing. The base for conditioning is athletics. The best training you can get to bring up your conditioning, your physical conditioning, going into your whatever sport you're playing, is an athletic-based program. It comes with strength training. It comes with endurance training. It comes with sprints and short runs, long runs, and all of that. What we're seeing in majority of the sports that we're seeing played in Belize, basketball, football. Fortunately, I will say this, I know they call it right, and big up the lady today. What we saw with the female volleyball team was a team that was in mint condition.
True.
But guess what? It was an athletics coach who got them there.
Oh.
So that's the trick. If we can somehow, and let me say this, that same athletics coach
Carl Neiman
is, right, I should call his name, Ernest Morris. That athletics coach is now working with the Football Federation of Belize. I can say this publicly because it's good news. And what is he doing? Improving their conditioning.
I like the fact that you're raising that point, because while I was at the university as Dean of Students with our athletic program, the most disciplined athletes were the track and field.
Okay.
Right? Yet, in all the other disciplines, conditioning, running, etc., none of the athletes wanted to do any of that kind of preparation. Right? So we had to revamp the entire program and put in where you had all these, I'm trying to remember the name that you have, this test that they do where you have to be able to...
Agility test?
It's an agility test.
Yeah, I know the name. There's a name for yeah.
So, and I say that because once you started having all the running, the strength training, the etc., their actual athletic ability really
went
through the roof. But it's also a mindset in our athletes. I don't know if it's because of television, etc. I will learn how to dunk and do everything in basketball, but I'm not going to do the preparation. I'm not going to come out and necessarily, do the stretching, do the preparation, etc. How do you, as a coach, reverse that kind of mentality to say, listen, you need the building blocks that you're talking about to actually up your game, increase your jumping, etc.
See, TV is good, but what TV does is this. It does good and it does bad. It does a disservice to young people because all they are seeing is the finished product.
Yes.
They don't see the blood, sweat, the 4, the 5 hours of training that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And most of these professional athletes, they train 3-4 hours a day, and that's the disservice part about it. But coming back to the youth, because I'm a teacher, I taught for 18 years in the high school, and what I learned my first year is the impact that I had on a lot of kids, a lot of young men, like you were talking about, right? A lot of these kids sometimes, the only reason they're in school, in my classroom, is because they love to run track. And we have a rule that says, no pass, no play.
Yeah.
So the only way you're going to run, or the only way you're going to play football, is if you pass your classes. So you have to come to school. So that is where now I use my influence to show him Well, I just don't want you here because you're gonna learn something in the textbook. I want you to learn about life, because when you leave here, you have to go out there and earn a living.
I want to ask you one question as a coach, because one of the biggest challenges that we face in Belize with young men and young women is alcohol use while being an athlete, right? It's a serious issue where, you know, even the coaches kind of, once the game is over, we take a beer. A lot of times I see teams, you know, they stop at, you know, one of the watering holes, and everybody get out and, you know, they're having alcohol, etc. Oh, I mean, how do you contend with issues like that? Is it just a lead by example kind of thing when the society is pushing so many people to, you know, consume?
You know, it is very interesting because, I mean, this is 2020. I've been around for a while, and I'll give you a good example. One of my idols back in the day as a young man was a hurdler, Willie Davenport. And I saw Willie working out and whatnot. And the night after the meet, Willie was out because there's always a party. And see this, I don't know if it's a natural thing. There is always a party after the meet, trust me.
Yeah.
So, and Willie's out, and I look in Willie's pocket, and here's a pack of Winston cigarettes. He smoked. I smoked cigarettes too, but it was like I could cut it off. When I'm in training, I could cut it off. And it's like, I can't really explain the phenomenon. You have a drink, you know, you want but then that's finished. You go the next week again, you come back and you do the same thing. You dance, you know. I really can't explain what it is. I don't know if it's an outlet for athletes, but it happens. It happens. I don't.
I think
the thing about it is this.
Managing.
I look at it is this: control, self-control.
Yes. Right. How you manage.
All right. You don't, anything in excess is harmful for your system.
And I think that's the point. It's balance. But
Yes.
you guys have an upcoming event, so
Yes,
we don't
yeah,
want
right. We want
before we
actually, so Uncle Colin, I asked him to come on board and be the architect because of his career and what
You've
he
moved
has
back
done.
to Belize just?
No.
Or you're just visiting?
Until Sunday.
All right. I just have to make sure Uncle for states come.
Yes, and by the way, he's not my uncle, but that's not how I feel about
It's a
that.
good
Right?
African
Yes.
Everybody
All right,
are
so
uncle and
I've asked him to be the architect to put together this program. So what he's doing, along with other members, Alvin Tillett and other coaches locally, they are putting together the scientific part of the development program. This Friday, we're going to do a launch. We're going to do an honoring ceremony. We're giving him a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Where's the?
This will be right at the Marian Jones. You know what? I'm going to send both of you the invite so that you can pass through.
What time?
At 7:30. Actually, I want to quickly say that Bilal Morris, who have Belizean legends,
Yes.
and he has a website, he has a whole network in the diaspora.
It's really amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
He will be the one presenting, but he will do it over.
Modern way.
Yes, over Skype. Yeah. So we honor Uncle Colin on Friday night, and then the Saturday we launch the program with our first quarterly invitational track meet. All right.
And you need that because
Yes.
that has been a challenge for a lot of athletes. You train,
And
but
there's
there are
nothing.
no
Yes.
competitions, and you need that.
You remember the days when we used to have sports spectacular at MCC?
Definitely.
Remember La Celana, Lanale boy, when we the sprint and they go, and then Bob Beeman came and showed how. Now the first time we saw when you do high jump, you do the flip. They got a name for it. What do you call the name?
Fosbury
The Fosbury. That was the first time all of us saw that. We were like, whoa. He had fall long by back, but he had a method, right? Yeah. So that is what we are really pushing.
That's on Saturday at 8
at
to
the Marian
3
Jones.
at the Marian Jones.
Right.
And it's for male and female.
Male and female.
Juniors and seniors.
Junior, infants also. Infants is considered under 13. Juniors is 14 to 18, and above 18 is seniors. And hear this now. Look at that. The biggest word there, the most important word is national. Yeah. Even though PROTO is a Belize City-centered organization, we will do our endeavor best to make sure that Proto have its reach in every district. For example, I have a young man, Brandon. Sorry, Brandon, I don't remember your last name, but he is coordinating our efforts in Dangriga. He's bringing up 8 of their better athletes to take part Saturday. And then there's another young man, Dennis, who is a current athlete, young boy, only 18, and he's bringing up 6 athletes. So we take care of the cost for them to come up and put them in accommodations, and we have a group coming from North. So the national dimension of this effort is the most critical.
I see you also partnering with the National Sports Council, which is very promising.
Yes.
That they've.
Well, tell you what, any football field is a track field.
Yeah.
Should be.
One of the biggest misconceptions that we have in Belize, we think that Jamaica, always Usain Bolt and then guys run panda, that's synthetic. No. They're practicing and training on grass fields.
Yeah.
So who have the most fields? National Sports Council. And by the way, I kind of have one lead inside because I am on the board of National Sports Council. So
Which is
and
good.
use
It's
me
called
influence
networking.
positively. Yes, yes. So,
But Brandon
Yes.
Cayetano?
yeah, is it Brandon Cayetano? He was he's still an athlete,
yeah,
right?
was
We
at
try to get
UB.
Brandon to continue to come
And
back
Alvin
run.
Tillett, I'm proud of those guys
man.
and stuff.
Yes.
Mark, we're
Almost out of
Colin,
time.
we're completely out of time, but
know.
I can't let you guys leave without giving your final words.
My final word is what Bob Marley says in one of his songs, your future is in your past. That is essentially what we're doing here. Me sitting here with Uncle Colin and OIE is simply a testament to that, because it is what he has done is what we will continue to do now. Just now, because we are applying the engineering and the math, we are going to make it sustainable. Simply that.
I have a little plea. I would like all the soccer teams out there, at the end of the soccer season, take your soccer team and turn it into a track team.
Track team.
That's a good way to
Yes.
stay in shape.
Those guys will be in the best shape possible. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yes.
And it's being done right now.
Yes.
in the States.
And it improves your creative
That's
spirit
right.
as well.
Yes.
And the level goes from here, and then it keeps going.
Yes.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in.
Really appreciate it.
Wonderful initiative.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we'll do a wrap. Stay tuned.